My family mocked my biggest achievement, then trespassed and vandalized my home. Now they say I ruined the family for going to the police. Original post. So, I previously shared story on this platform and received some genuinely helpful advice. So I'm hoping for the same again. Here's what went down. I am a 27-year-old woman and have always had a difficult and complicated relationship with my family. They've consistently been the kind of people who believe any joke is acceptable as long as someone is laughing regardless of who might get hurt in the process. Over the years, I've tried to brush it aside and not let it affect me too deeply. But this time, they went too far and crossed a boundary I simply can't ignore. Not long ago, I reached a significant milestone in my life. After years of saving, I finally bought my first home. It's something I worked extremely hard for, giving up vacations, nights out, and pretty much any extras to make it a reality. I was incredibly proud of myself and thrilled to finally have a place I could call mine. Naturally, I wanted to share this major accomplishment with my family despite our rocky history. A few weeks back, we had a family dinner to celebrate my new house. Initially, everything seemed perfectly fine. They congratulated me, asked questions about the house, and appeared to be genuinely happy for me. However, halfway through the evening, my 30-year-old brother and 25-year-old sister handed me an envelope. They said it was a surprise to help with the house. When I opened it, I found what looked like an official legal notice stating that my home purchase had been canceled due to a clerical error and that the property had now been sold to someone else. It included an official-looking letterhead, my full name, and all the details about the house. I was absolutely stunned. Then everyone at the table erupted into laughter, and my brother shouted, "Gotcha." Turns out they had fabricated the entire letter and thought it would be hilarious to see how I reacted. I immediately burst into tears, which only made them laugh harder. To top it off, they recorded the entire incident on their phones to share on social media. Once I regained my composure enough to speak, I told them how cruel and heartless it was. Buying this house was the biggest achievement of my life, and they decided to turn it into a joke at my expense. Their response, "You're too sensitive. It was just a prank. You need to lighten up." I left the dinner early, feeling utterly heartbroken. A few days later, I realized I couldn't take it anymore. This wasn't the first time they had pulled a so-called prank like this. Over the years, they've embarrassed and humiliated me repeatedly, like the time they ruined my outfit for a job interview by accidentally spilling coffee on it, or another time when they pretended to have lost my dog just to watch me panic. I decided to completely cut off contact. I didn't cause a scene. I simply stopped replying to messages, blocked them on social media, and declined all invitations to family gatherings. Now I'm receiving messages from extended family filled with guilt-tripping language, accusing me of being selfish and tearing the family apart. My mother even left a voicemail in tears, saying how much she misses me and begging me to return. But I just can't bring myself to forgive them. That last prank felt like the final straw, and I don't see how I can ever trust them again. So, Reddit community, am I the one in the wrong for cutting ties with my family over this prank? Top comment on your feelings are completely valid, because what they did wasn't a prank. It was bullying. That whole "it was just a joke" nonsense is the excuse every bully uses to justify humiliating others. They thought it would be entertaining to hurt you on one of the most important nights of your life, and then film your reaction and post it online. And now your mother is crying because she misses you. She had the chance right then and there to confront them about their behavior, to stand up for you, and to demand they treat you with kindness and respect. Instead, she chose to go along with their cruel joke. You absolutely deserve better than this. I'm genuinely glad you decided to put an end to their bullying. Do not allow them or anyone else in the extended family to pressure you into doing anything that doesn't feel right to you. I'm truly sorry they couldn't just be happy for you and your incredible accomplishment. Congratulations on your new home. Edit to add. Thank you so much for the kind awards. I truly just hope the original poster finds some peace and distance from these toxic people. She has more than earned it. Update 1 edit. I really appreciate all the advice and support. I wanted to share an update because the situation has escalated in ways I honestly didn't see coming. After I cut off contact with my family, I assumed they would eventually respect my choice and move on. But that hasn't been the case. Over the past few weeks, my brother and sister have kept trying to get me to see the funny side of their so-called prank. They've shown up at my house uninvited several times, banging on the door and insisting on talking to me. At first, I just ignored them, hoping they'd give up. But it quickly became clear they weren't planning to stop. One evening, I caught them standing outside my home with their phones out, filming themselves while shouting things like, "She can't take a joke," and "Let's see how long she can hide." It didn't feel like an attempt to make amends. It felt like harassment. What really broke me was waking up one morning to find my car had been egged. My security camera recorded my brother and sister doing it. I confronted them via text message, telling them they had gone way too far and needed to leave me alone. Their reply, "You're so dramatic. One day you'll laugh about this." That was the point where I realized I couldn't handle this on my own anymore. I went to the police and filed a harassment report. They listened to my statement, reviewed the footage from my security system, and confirmed that their behavior wasn't acceptable. My siblings were contacted and officially warned to stay away from me. Their reaction, more mocking messages, calling me a tattletale, and blaming me for breaking up the family. A few relatives took their side, saying I should have just talked things out instead of getting law enforcement involved. But others, especially those who saw the footage, were shocked and completely supported my decision. I feel a mix of sadness and relief. It hurts knowing my own family would treat me like this. But I also feel safer now that I've taken steps to protect myself. I'm focusing on building a new chapter in my home and surrounding myself with people who respect and uplift me. To anyone struggling with toxic family situations, you are not alone, and it's okay to set boundaries in order to protect your peace. Thank you for giving me the strength to stand my ground. Update to final edit. I believe it's been a while since I last shared an update, and honestly, it's because the entire experience has been emotionally draining. Even after reporting them to the police, my brother and sister wouldn't let it go. I held on to some hope that they'd eventually get bored or move on, but instead, they escalated things further. The taunting messages continued, and they even joked about the warning they received, treating it like a badge of honor. My extended family remained divided. Some still accused me of overreacting, while others began to openly express concern and disapproval over my siblings' actions. Then things reached a new level. My security cameras caught them trespassing on my property again. This time leaving toilet paper and shaving cream all over my driveway. That was the final straw. I went back to the police with the new footage, which clearly showed they had ignored the prior warning. This time I applied for a restraining order. I had plenty of evidence, security footage, text messages, and the previous police report to prove that their behavior was not only persistent, but escalating. After reviewing everything, the judge granted the restraining order. My siblings were legally required to stay away from me, my home, and my place of work. At first, they treated the court order like another joke. But once they saw I wasn't engaging anymore, the harassment finally ended. The restraining order worked. For the first time in what feels like forever, I genuinely felt safe. Some family members still don't understand why I had to take things to this extent. But their approval is no longer something I need. I did what was necessary to protect myself. My home now feels peaceful instead of stressful. My phone no longer buzzes with anxiety. I have my life back. To anyone dealing with family members who refuse to respect your boundaries, do not be afraid to stand up for yourself. You do not owe anyone tolerance just because they're related to you. Your well-being and safety should always come first. And if people want to label me a tattletale for standing up for myself, so be it. I would rather be called that than let myself be a doormat. Stay strong. This is a repost submission. I am not the original poster. Do not contact the original poster or comment on the link posts. Please remember Rule 7. Story 2. Am I the for financially screwing over my sister after finding out she's close with my ex-husband and his wife? Normally, I wouldn't turn to strangers on the internet for personal advice, but everyone in my life seems to think I'm just a petty, bitter, scorned woman, which, let's be honest, maybe I am. So, I really need some objective perspective. My ex-husband, who is currently a 43-year-old man, and I, a 43-year-old woman, were college sweethearts. For me, it felt like life was perfect. I trusted him with everything, which is why it hit me so hard when I discovered he had fallen in love with a much younger colleague. She was about 24 at the time. I won't go into all the details of how I found out, but the affair was basically an open secret at his workplace. When I confronted him, all he said was, "I'm sorry." I tried really hard not to fall for her. He didn't sound even remotely remorseful. It felt like he was hoping I'd walk away. So I did. That was 6 years ago. Our son was 4 years old at the time, and it was the most devastating period of my life. I honestly don't know how I made it through. I was so desperate. I wanted him to fight for me, for us, for our family. But he didn't. He signed the divorce papers without hesitation and didn't even contest custody. It was as if he had already moved on and deleted our entire past. It took years of therapy before I began to feel like myself again, before I stopped obsessively checking that woman's social media and comparing myself to her. It didn't help that she's very beautiful and charming. His family adored her. And as gross as it sounds, one of our mutual friends actually said to me, "I don't support cheating, but I mean, look at her." When I told her about the affair, I guess everyone was thinking it. She just happened to be the one foolish enough to say it out loud. I cut off that entire group of friends after that. They got married 3 years ago, and now they have a daughter. They're like a picture-perfect little family. Our current custody arrangement is that our son spends weekends and holidays with his father. For the most part, that works out fine. Last week, I found out that my 28-year-old sister has been in contact with my ex-husband this whole time. That on its own might have been forgivable. They were close during our marriage, and she always saw him like a brother. But what really got me is that she's actually best friends with his wife, and she's been keeping it from me for 6 years. I only found out because she left her phone at my house, and I saw multiple messages from the wife. When I asked about it, she completely brushed it off like it was no big deal. I told her she's free to do whatever she wants, but I'm cutting her off completely. That includes financial help. I'd been helping her pay off her college loans. Laugh out loud. I'm also going no contact. She called me unreasonable and said I was being petty and unable to move on from something that happened years ago. She also said the wife is a lovely human being and a great friend. Then she said she's going to be completely screwed financially. I told her to go screw herself. Somehow, my parents are taking her side. So, am I the story 3? I keep meeting my birth mother, but she doesn't know it's me. She had me when she was 14 years old. I'm a 24-year-old man, and I was given up for adoption. My adoptive parents were always honest with me about her. I still have the letter she wrote and asked them to give me if they ever chose to do so. It's wild to read that letter sometimes and remember it was written by a literal child. She wrote that she was sorry she couldn't be my mother, but hoped I would grow up happy. She said she was open to contact, but when we moved for my dad's job when I was 11, it felt impossible to ever find her again. But I did find her. She works at this small restaurant and I keep going there, but she has no idea who I am. We talk now and then. She seems like a kind person. Sometimes when she says something like, "Do you want a refill, honey?" or uses another sweet term, I get the urge to tell her. I don't even know why it makes me so nervous. We chat a little more when it's not busy, and she's always genuine. I literally drive 2 hours just to eat there and see her. I've been going once or twice a week for the past 3 months, so now she greets me with a big smile like I'm a regular. But man, if only she knew. Top comments. Comment 1. She didn't give you up out of spite. She was a child who clearly loved you. Please tell her. I honestly believe this would be the greatest joy of her life. She left you a letter, hoping for future contact. That kind of love doesn't fade. Not at 14, not at 80. Otherwise, she would have made sure she couldn't be found. I wouldn't be surprised if you were the biggest hole left in her heart. A mother is never whole after losing a child she loves. If you're too scared to tell her in person, maybe write a letter about yourself with a phone number or email address. Or leave a baby photo, something she might recognize, with your name and contact info in an envelope addressed to her. That way you don't have to say, "I'm your son," face to face right away. But take the step. Regret hurts more than fear. Every moment counts, and the present is the only thing you can change. You deserve to be known and loved by her, and she definitely deserves the chance to know you. Edit. Would you please update us? Otherwise, there will be a small hole in my heart, too. Comment tu? I used to long for my daughter, who was adopted. I would go sit at a neighborhood park just watching children play, hoping I might recognize something in one of them that told me she was mine. Years later, when she was older, I sought her out. We've now had a beautiful relationship for the past 15 years. She had been at that park. I found out she grew up just 5 miles away from me. She may be yearning to reconnect just as much as I was. I wish you a fulfilling journey and so much love. Update 1. Well, I told her, and yeah, it was intense. My heart was racing. I kept trying to find the right words. A lot of comments on my last post suggested writing her a letter like the one she wrote me. That was my original plan, but in the end, I felt like I had to say it out loud. Oh, and real quick, I just want to thank everyone for the love and encouragement, especially to all the birth parents who shared their stories with me. That gave me the push I needed to find the courage to tell her. It meant everything to me, so thank you. Everything happened 2 days ago. I waited until her shift ended and the restaurant was closing for the night. I stayed in the parking lot. When she saw me, she said hi like usual. Then I told her I had something serious to share and started by apologizing for not telling her sooner. She didn't say anything until I pulled out her letter. And that's when she lost it, crying and yelling at the same time. I didn't even have to say, "I'm your son." She just saw the letter and knew it was surreal. Next thing I know, she's hugging me. Then she pulled back and asked if it was okay to hug me. And of course, I said yes. We stood there hugging and crying in the parking lot. It hit her so hard that her legs gave out, and I had to hold her up for a minute while she clung to me. What got me the most was hearing her say, "Look how big you got." Her crying made me cry, too. Then she reopened the restaurant. She wouldn't take no for an answer. We had coffee and shared a slice of pie inside. We talked for hours about everything. She told me that the second time I came in, she had a gut feeling, but couldn't bring herself to believe it was really me. So, she pushed the thought down. She told me that for years after I was adopted, whenever she saw kids who were around the age I would have been, she used to wonder if they might be me. Sometimes she'd even cry in public. It really messed with her emotionally and made her depressed. So, when she saw me at the restaurant, even though she had a feeling she didn't want to do that to herself again, get her hopes up, only to be wrong. She also said I looked so much like my biological father did when he was younger. We talked about him, too. Apparently, they stayed in touch just in case I ever reached out to one of them, so it would be easier to connect with the other. I honestly didn't expect anything when it came to finding my biological dad. He was never really mentioned. So, I was really glad they had both thought ahead and prepared for that possibility. She told me that they had wanted to keep me, especially my biological father. He didn't want me to be adopted, but they knew they had to because they were just kids. She said it took him a really long time to come to terms with it after I was born. That's why he didn't leave behind anything, because he didn't want to believe he might never see me again. We talked for hours until nearly 2 o'clock in the morning. The restaurant closed at 11 p.m. She wanted to know everything about me, but what mattered most to her was, are you happy? Were my adoptive parents good to me? Did I have a happy childhood? And I did. I told her, thank you for helping to give me this life. We both cried again. She cried more than I did. It was all so emotional for her. At times, she looked so joyful, and then it would shift into sadness again. After my 18th birthday, she started hoping I would try to find her. That's part of why she never left the city. But since I didn't show up, she started thinking maybe I resented her, or maybe I hadn't been told I was adopted, or that I had decided not to reach out. That part really made me feel bad for not telling her sooner. She reassured me it wasn't my fault, that I did the right thing, going at my own pace. Honestly, she's so sweet. The way she kept looking at me with the biggest smile, it made me emotional. It's wild how someone who's been a stranger your entire life can look at you with so much love. We learned so much about each other. She asked if we could have dinner again, soon to keep catching up. And she asked if someday I'd be interested in visiting her home to meet her husband. That all sounded really wonderful to me. We exchanged phone numbers. After I left, she texted me to say, thank you for giving her a gift she wasn't sure would ever come. My girlfriend came over and I cried in her arms. Not from sadness. These were happy tears. Everything went even better than I expected. It was emotionally heavy, of course, but I'm so thankful we were able to open up to each other. Top comments original poster. She asked me if I wanted her to let my biological father know. She said we didn't have to meet right away if I wasn't ready. She just thought he should be aware. She told me he's been wanting to see me for a long time. I told her to go ahead and tell him and that we could meet up soon. After how well the first meeting with her went, I felt really motivated. I wanted to meet him, too. Comment, it's incredible to think how many of us all over the world, in our cars, in bed, on our breaks, in coffee shops, are reading the story at the same time and either crying, smiling, or just feeling full of joy for someone we've never met. Update 2. A lot of you asked me to let you know how it went meeting my biological father. And honestly, to say it was emotional is an understatement. We finally met a few days ago. It was originally planned for almost 2 weeks earlier, but life kept getting in the way. First work, then I got sick for a few days. Not but we eventually made it happen. I was actually more nervous this time because I didn't know anything about him. With my biological mom, I had observed her from afar, got a feel for who she was before revealing myself. This was different. I asked my biological mom to be there, too. She knows him better, and I felt safer with her by my side. So, the two of us were at the park waiting. He was already crying before we even reached him. This man is strong, but he pulled me in for the biggest bear hug, crying the whole time. He kept telling me how much they loved me and that he loved me. I lost track of how many times he came in for another hug. It really hit him hard. He kept saying, "Thank you, God," over and over again while looking at my face. The emotions were overwhelming for all of us. Hearing him say how much they loved me even back then, it meant the world. I won't lie, I was hugging him tight too. To anyone at the park, it must have looked wild to see 3 people crying like that. My biological dad, later, said he had cried so much just driving to the park that he thought he was out of tears until he saw us. Once we all sat down together, it hit me. My biological mom wasn't lying when she said we looked alike. He's older now, obviously, but still. Holy crap. The resemblance is unreal. He brought gifts, too, which really surprised me. It was incredibly thoughtful. He told me I didn't have to keep them if I didn't want to, but he said it felt strange not to show up with something, especially because he had wanted to give these things to me for a long time. One was a teddy bear holding a picture frame with a photo of him in the hospital, holding me as a baby. He was 15 years old. That alone is still so wild to think about. The other gift was a journal. He explained that he started writing in it a few years after I was adopted. At the time, he was in therapy, and this journal was part of how he coped. He hoped one day he'd be able to give it to me. It was his way of staying connected. I haven't read all of it yet, but some of the pages I've gone through are written like letters or thoughts to me. His feelings when they found out my birth mother was pregnant, what was going through his mind during the adoption, and especially the moment he first got to hold me. I didn't even know he had been at the hospital. That part really hit me. I wasn't expecting any of it, and it really got to me. I read more of the journal last night and ended up crying. It hurts knowing how much this affected them emotionally for years, but it's also incredibly touching that he poured so much into this for me. We talked a lot about his life, too, which hasn't been easy. He's had his share of struggles growing up, and he opened up about his feelings during and after the adoption. He wanted to know everything about me. Pretty much the same questions my birth mom asked. I made sure they both knew that they made the right decision because the truth is my life has been pretty great. When I told him that, he looked like he was about to cry again. He told me that was all they had ever hoped for, but it was something he had wondered about for years. After a while, once things felt less awkward, my birth mom left so we could talk one-on-one. He started telling me stories about how he met her and pointed out little things he noticed about me that reminded him of her or reminded him of himself. For example, I love eating mangoes, like I could eat them all day. That's actually what I picked out when we got snacks at the park. He told me my birth mom was obsessed with mangoes even before she got pregnant. And while she was pregnant, her cravings were even stronger. Random little things like that are just cool to know. And we actually have a lot in common. We both love hiking, playing pool. He was a swimmer in college, and I was on the swim team in high school. We both love rock music, especially from the 1990s. He was super open and honest with me, like he'd been preparing for this meeting for a long time. He said he prayed every day that he'd get to see me again because there were so many things he wanted to tell me. Overall, it was an amazing first meeting. I'm really happy with how it went. He's open to the idea of meeting my adoptive parents. I told them about everything, and they're definitely interested in reconnecting with my birth parents if I'm comfortable with it, and if my birth parents are too. We'll see when that happens. I have no idea how I'll feel at that moment. They met each other before I was born, but I've never had all four of them in the same place. That's going to be interesting, to say the least. Yesterday, I met up with my parents for breakfast to tell them everything. My mom was so happy with how it all turned out. She actually cried when I described both of their reactions. My dad was proud of me. He knows how hard those months were right after I found my birth mom and wasn't sure if I was ready to reach out. I'm so grateful for their support. It's hard not to feel guilty for wanting to know more about my birth parents. My adoptive parents gave me such a good life, and part of me worried they'd think I was saying that wasn't enough, that I would have rather had my birth parents. But they've told me over and over that they want me to do this for me, and they know how much I love them. And I really, really do. Finding and meeting my birth parents was hard, but it was completely worth it. Seeing their reactions made it feel even more worth it. I still can't believe any of this is real sometimes. I just realized this post has gotten long. My bad. Writing this out has been really therapeutic. Honestly. Kind of like looking back and processing everything that's happened. I'm just feeling incredibly grateful. And again, I want to say thank you to everyone who's followed along on this journey with me. Everyone who sent me their own stories, support, love, and encouragement. You have such beautiful hearts. I'm so lucky to have had a space to share all this and receive so much kindness in return. To all the adopted kids out there, I'm wishing you the best. I hope you find what you're searching for. This path isn't easy, but I feel lucky that things didn't go badly for me. I'm lucky my birth parents are kind, loving people. And to all the birth parents who made the hardest sacrifice imaginable, thank you. Because of you, children like me got to have amazing lives filled with love. Top comments. Comment on. I'm so happy for you. Just a heads up. If you're ever looking for gift ideas for your birth parents, a photo album of pictures of you as a kid growing up would probably mean the world to them. Leave some blank pages at the end for all the new memories you're going to make together. Original poster. Oh wow, that's such a cool idea. I love that. My parents have tons of pictures, so this could actually work perfectly. Comment 2. I'm genuinely so happy for you. I followed all of your posts, and each one makes me cry happy tears. You have 4 parents who have all wanted nothing but the best for you and love you with their whole hearts. Original poster. Yeah, it's honestly amazing just knowing that these 4 people loved me and wanted me even before I was born.